everybody, welcome to chapter 39 in my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. And you'll notice that we're not in the bathroom today. Hallelujah. This should have been a bathroom video, but haven't progressed much since I last showed you what I was doing. So we're going to come into the shop today. We're going to hopefully start a little bit of discussion about turning safety. There's one aspect of turning safety I'm going to pick on today, and that's what we're going to do. So as somebody who I used to watch on YouTube an awful lot, Captain Eddie, this one's for you. All you got to do is watch. But okay, well then you got to practice, and then you got to practice some more, and then you got to confer, and then you should probably watch again, and then you should show others. Well, you'll get the picture. Just stay tuned. Well, as I said in the introduction, today I'm going to just shoot hopefully another short little video on one aspect of wood turning that could be viewed as unsafe by, well, in my case, working in the school system for 32 years, administrators. I often had to kind of convince a non-wood turning woodworker administrator that what we were doing in the shop presented no risk or little risk. And so this is kind of where I'm coming from on this issue. So I am not going to present this as my way is the best way. There are a number of ways to do this. And the skill we're going to talk about today is putting burn lines in a project. So this one, actually this is one that Trent Watts did at a recent Hub City Turners class, or maybe this one's older. Anyway, Trent did it. One of the things that got me thinking about this issue again was the fact that this last weekend we had a Hub City Turner class out here again. Since I'm the only one around with enough lathes to do it, everybody meets here and we have a great time. But anyway, I'm always working on things in my shop, so of course I don't put everything away. And somebody kind of picked up one of my inventions and started a bit of a discussion. So I thought I'd just share that with you in this episode or this chapter. So anyway, putting burn lines in a project. They can add a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot of decoration, a lot of decoration. Okay, sometimes people just get carried away. This would be excessive. But these three on this one, really, really nice and classy. I like this little votive holder that we've turned. I think we've turned a few of these at Hub City Turners classes. This was one of my first projects that my grade 8s would have turned in the school shop. And I like the form of it. It's I'll probably butcher his name, Rudy Osolnik. It's kind of looking in his direction when I kind of turned this. Kind of copied it from him, but we don't go anywhere near as thin in the waist, and his are really elegant and beautiful. Anyway, so burn lines can really add nice little feature. And in school, my students absolutely loved it. It was just something they had never considered doing, and you could actually use like somebody burning wood and making smoke to make your project look better. But very early on in my teaching career, I realized that I was responsible, well, I realized this as soon as I started teaching, that I was responsible for the safety of the students in my class. And I always felt with the tried and true method of the wire suspended between ends, that if something ever went wrong, I would have a hard time explaining what I was doing, especially to school administration that 99% of the time have never really been in a shop and have done precious little to do with tools or anything on their own. So I had to make it had to pass the perception test. And we did do this for a while, but I never felt good about it because there's so much that can go wrong. Now it depends on how your shop is running. If you're in the shop alone, like I am now with 5 or 6 turners, that's not bad. That's pretty easy to handle. But I'd be in the shop maybe with 20 kids and 4 turners, maybe 8 woodworkers, and see if I get the math right, and about maybe another 8, whatever. You get the picture, maybe some metal workers. So I couldn't just stand there with them. And I needed something that they could do on their own. Yes, I liked them to let me know they were doing it before, so I could watch even from a distance. But anyway, so I basically went through the different styles of burning wires and utensils, and I just thought I'd go through them and compare each one, and we'll see what happens. When you start to do this, okay, I've just got a cylinder of birch here, just roughed it out. One of the things, and this has been done on the internet numerous times, making point tools. This one I made and I wrote up in an article for the Saskatchewan Woodworkers Guild a number of years ago. And it's just 8mm high-speed steel that I ordered, I think off of Amazon, and ground it to 3 points. It's really easy to make. So, and it's really nice for establishing that little rut to get whatever you're using started. So I'm just going to turn the lathe on here and let it come up to speed, and all I have to do is touch it in. If you don't have a point tool, another good tool for this is a skew. I like to use long point leading, to use some of Richard Raffin's terminology. And again, we're going to let the lathe come up to speed, and that goes in nicely. Now, I've set this up really easy. If you're doing things on a sloped surface, you have to be a little bit more careful. Then I think I would prefer the point tool for that, but you can use what you have. And if you're teaching others, make sure that you've thought through what you're doing so you can come up with a safe procedure. So anyway, burning a line is not a hard thing to do. Here, I'm going to just get rid of these for a second here. Okay, so the typical burn wire. The consensus, kind of at my last class when we talked about this, most people have used this. So, but see, here's where I started running into trouble with it. Okay, did I want the student to be putting this around a spinning piece? Now remember, this has 24 inches of swing. My student lathes, the little deltas that we had at school, had 6. So, sorry, 12 inches of swing, so half as much. So right away, you're much closer. Now, is this kind of to scale? I'm a bigger person. I can reach over. I can, I'm wearing proper clothing, all those things. And I can make this work, and I can do this safely. So maybe a good idea would be to put it down over the bed of the lathe. You can come up with any procedure that you like. When you're burning, speed is quite important. Having a little more is better than a little less. I'm just under 2,000 according to this. So now I'm going to carefully reach over, but you can see an eager young student, that might not work all that well. But as far as the burning goes, I would have to say, of the ones I'm going to show you, this is probably the best burn. But, is it worth it? Okay, moving on. So, another common way to burn is with a piece of plastic laminate. Arborite, Wilson Art, Formica, whatever brand you go by, this actually works fairly well. I started doing this at school because I felt, for me as a teacher, the wire one was not an option. I saw problems with it. Now, sometimes at school, I didn't let the students crank the speed of the lathe up. We did not have the button like I have here. We had step pulleys, and my grade 8s, for example, were instructed not to mess with the speed. So if I got busy and I didn't get around to them and change the speed on their lathe, then they were probably trying to burn at about 1200 RPM, which in my opinion is too slow. So I'm going to put a couple more lines in here with my point tool. Kind of like this thing. There we go. Okay, now the plastic laminate, the nice thing about this is it's free. Not that I'm telling you to do this, but you can walk into any big box home center and the samples are hanging there. You can take whatever color you want. Or if you deal with a local lumber yard, you go in and you borrow their ring of samples to pick a color for a project you're working on, and then just forget to bring it back. No, I'm kidding. That isn't what happened here. Although, yes, my former owner of the lumber yard here, I don't think ever needed these back because these are obsolete. But they come in really handy here because the one bad thing about the arborite is they don't last long. That's one burn, and I'll show you what that's like. Now, the thing I liked about this, even though the fingers were close, you could use the tool rest as a starting point. So then I'm going to keep the speed the same for all of these so the comparison is direct. And see, I can just tip this in, and that works really quite good. And you can get bigger samples too. So this is pretty good. From a teaching perspective, to me, this is a better option. Is it a better burn? I still like the wire, but this is a good alternative. Okay, now we're going to get to the goofy stuff. This is stuff that I've created. I was kind of working on this pre-COVID, and then COVID came along and literally, caused so many problems with my program. The things I was working on that I was going to introduce just never happened and then I got sick, and oh my goodness, it was a real gong show. About, jeepers, very end of 2018 to the end of COVID in the shop was a write-off. But anyway, I figured, it might be a good idea for the kids to be able to have something stable to hold on to that, if the wire would break, would kind of drop onto the piece, but their hands would be okay. And it's a tool. So I thought, you know what? My administrators probably would be quite okay with this. Not that they're the final judge of everything, but it's a way for kids to get their hands away from this and from the wire. So I have two versions of this. This is the short version. And the other nice thing about this is how you can use your tool rest. So you can move, I'm about 2.5 inches back from the wood here, and I can set it on the rest, and I can tip it in. And my hands are well away from all the action. You can tell this is probably the one I'm gonna like the best, but is it the best? That's what I'm asking you. So we're gonna turn it on, and I've got it in the edge there, where there's a little bit of a notch, and lower it in. Now, this has a little different wire in it than this one. Okay, basically what I did is I went to Dollarama when things there were still $1. I don't think these things were $1, but they were cheap. And you can tell if you had to cut a bolt or something off with this saw, where is one that in the condition that, here it is, this is the way they came. I'm sure the blade is as high quality as the frame is. But, so that one I cut off. This one I didn't. I actually forgot I had those things. And I was looking through my storage garage boxes one day and came across the rest of them. I'd had this one inside here and I was experimenting with it. This is the same as the other one, just a little longer. And what it does is put your hands, you know, that nice 6-inch distance away from the action. So I think this could work fairly well. And if I teach classes again next year, we are going to experiment with these, because I think I can do this safely. Maybe we should talk about wire just briefly before I burn the last line here. I finally, it was almost a little frustrating talking to club members because they hadn't put any thought into the wire that they used. Somebody just gave them a chunk of guitar string or whatever, and all kinds of different wire got used. I even heard of one fellow using the leader for fishing. Oh, by the way, don't buy leaders at Dollarama unless you're a catch and release person, because you definitely will be with those things. They are pretty fragile. But anyway, I finally decided on 20 gauge steel wire, and I picked this up at Home Depot, and I forget how much it was, but it seems to work fairly well. And this particular saw frame has that in it. So let's see how it does. Okay, so again, we're gonna get that in there. Turn this on, and it's not bad. So let's do 3. That's kind of what normally people would do. Now, advantages, disadvantages. The reason the first one burns so nicely is because you can wrap it around. You know, you can get a lot more friction on that piece. So those who use this and think this is the way to go, that usually is the reason that they tell me about. And it's with merit, for sure. The arborite, or formica, or plastic laminate, whatever you call it, it works good. It's a good alternative. I think in the teaching, in a public school, personally, I wouldn't do this. Not that I think it's bad or I think it's wrong. In the privacy of my own shop, turning with adults, not a problem. But again, I never turned with adults, so the plastic laminate works pretty good. And finally, another way of looking at this. Now the disadvantage to these is the wire is quite tight. So your contact on the wood is only, like on this one, about an inch. And that doesn't burn as effectively. It takes longer and it maybe takes more pressure. Now, is that going to cause this wire to break and kids to go flying into the wood? I don't know. That's one thing I'm going to be working on. But before I have students in the shop, potentially next fall, or for sure maybe by second semester next year, I will have this worked out, and I will get back to you. But like so many things in turning, there's all kinds of different ways of accomplishing the same result. As long as you're accomplishing that result safely, I don't think it really matters what you're doing. So, and especially for myself, coming from a background of working with kids, and you think you can go through things, you can figure things out, yep, nobody's gonna get hurt doing that. Sure enough, the first time you do it with students, something's gonna come up. Oh, I never thought we'd head down that road. You know, just surprising. So when you're teaching students, you have to be on top of your game, and you have to be aware of all the things that can go wrong, and then try to be aware of the things you weren't aware of. Does that make any sense? Because that's really the way it is. So anyway, regardless of what you do or which method you choose to burn, if I've left one out, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. The other thing is, if you care enough about this, tell me what you think is the better way, the safer way for kids. Remember, one of my motivating factors in designing the burning tools that I've designed is I thought this idea would sell easier to a non-woodworking administrator than the other one. So even though they accomplish the same thing, it's just here I feel my hands are away from the action, which is really, really important. So anyway, please drop a comment if you have an opinion on this. If you think one of these is better than the other, or tell me which one you've used. And maybe when your own shop, start thinking about yourself as a grade 8 student, and maybe set up some things that are safe for you as well. Your wife may continually claim that you're a grade 8 student, but no, we all know better. Anyway, with that in mind, what I'd like to get you to do is, like I said, leave a comment if you have particular feelings about which of these is what you would consider the safer way to burn. Also, if you could like, share, and subscribe this video or to my channel, that'd be awesome. Watch the video, share it with friends. It's a slow process. YouTube is not exactly a self-esteem builder. Yeah, if you like it, and please comment about the methods you've used to burn lines and what you feel is the best. So I'll probably be seeing you on deeper into the weekend, and I think we're going to change completely the topic of the video, because like I said, my tiling hasn't gone as fast, and this last week I just didn't get much done. So we'll stay out of the bathroom for the next one for sure yet, and then hopefully we can come back after that. So anyway, have a good weekend coming up. Enjoy. Hopefully the weather's nice, and just a little hint, get that garden in. Okay, take care. We'll see you next time.